How's it going, everybody? Nick D'Virgilio here at Sweetwater's video studio, hanging out with Gabe Helguera.
Hello.
Drummer from I Prevail. The band's playing at the Coliseum tonight.
Yes.
On a great tour, and man, you are a monster drummer. It's a pleasure to have you here. Thanks so much for joining.
Oh, well, first of all, for you to say I'm a monster drummer means a lot. I'm happy to be here.
Gabe has a very cool channel called Drum Beats Online, education channel, but you talk more than just about playing drums, although you do that really well, I have to say, man. Your lessons on how to play grooves and fills and stuff is cool, but you talk a lot about stuff, advice on touring, tips on health, all kinds of things. So how did you start your channel? What was the first thing you did?
All right, so the first thing that I did was a cover of a Miley Cyrus song.
Okay.
It's a terrible video, to be 100% honest. It was about 5 or 6 years ago. I just wanted to put it out there. At that point, I'd played in a ton of bands. All the bands fell apart, and I was like, man, I really want to do something that I can control. You know, like for when you're playing in a band, there's so many variables of other people. They have other stuff they want to do. I wanted something that was like truly mine. So I did that video, and then I was like, well, I've never taught a drum lesson before. Why don't I just make a drum lesson video and see where that goes? And so I started to make a few. Again, not very good at the beginning, but for whatever reason, they started to gain traction. I started to see people saying, hey, like this beat really helped me. I tried to keep it basic because at the time too, like my playing was pretty beginner. So just trying to teach the people a little bit behind me. And I just didn't stop. And I really fell in love with teaching and seeing progress from other people in the comment section. That's what I really fell in love with. That's why I really started to tailor my whole channel towards teaching others, and then, you know, eventually picked up a gig, and it expanded my mind to a whole new world of drumming, what could be possible with touring, with playing live. So really, I'm just trying to teach people everything that I'm learning, like every step of the way.
That's cool because you know, I've been playing drums a long time as well, and it's a business. You got to figure out ways to diversify and keep money flowing in and expanding your reach and all that kind of stuff. And thankfully, YouTube's around to kind of help us all out a little bit in that respect. But it's great. You've really built a very cool thing. Now, in your YouTube channel, the way you describe things is very clear, and you can get very technical on some of the hard stuff too. But do you do all of the editing yourself as well?
I do, yes.
So how long does that take? Because you have a lot of content, right?
Yeah.
And I even saw one of your things where you were traveling around on tour, and you know, you were saying you're editing on your downtime while you're on the road and stuff like this. So how much of that does that really take?
A lot, depending on the video, of course.
Yeah.
And depending how crazy I turn the editing into. For whatever reason, that's just like, when you have your own YouTube channel, there's so many things. It's, okay, you have to be able to play drums. That's cool, like I can play the drums. And it's like, okay, well then you gotta be able to record the drums. It's like, oh, I don't really know how to do that. So I guess I'll try to learn that. And then it's like, well, you have to shoot video, and then you have to edit the video. And so yeah, the editing process is something I really started to fall in love with just along the way. But I mean, let's say I'll film 1 to 3 videos in a day. If I plan them out beforehand, get all that ready. To edit a single video probably takes like 3 days of just solid work. And yeah, I mean, that's what I've been doing on this tour as well. I'm like vlogging my experience here, so I'm literally like shooting a video as we're shooting a video, and I'll edit that. So yeah, the process is extensive, but I really enjoy it.
That's cool, but that's what it takes to keep the people engaged, right? To keep following you and hearing what you're doing and your music and all of that stuff. So I appreciate the hard work you put into that, because it can be a pain sometimes.
Absolutely.
Does it ever take away the creative process for you when you feel like you got really something good in your mind and in your hands, and you want to let it out, and then you get bogged down editing? Or do you keep them separate?
Yeah, honestly, yeah, probably. It does happen. It's just like the unfortunate truth of not having a ton of people doing the different jobs that need to happen, you know, and things are building. At some point, it'll probably get there. I think like I have a bit of a hard time relinquishing control of some of the creative things too, though. So that's the issue, is I do really enjoy planning and making videos, but to trust like the editing process with someone else, it would take a lot. It would take a really high level editor who could clearly show me like, hey man, I'm way better than you, and I will make your videos way better, you know?
And do you have people behind the camera, or you put the camera static and you get back and then you go for it?
Yeah, it's just me. I have a couple cameras. I normally like set one up like static like that, and then I actually have like a remote slider, so like it kind of moves on its own. But Yeah, no, it's just me in my studio. I think like, and I kind of like that aspect of it because when other people get involved, like I get a little bit more nervous.
Right.
You know, I have the complete freedom to mess a drum fill up as many times as I want to, or mess up a line or an explanation of something. So I enjoy that part of it, just being me.
I got to tell you, I feel for our video team here because we make a ton of videos, and they've heard me say the dumbest things and hem and haw and make mistakes a lot. So there's a ton of stuff on the cutting room floor at this place, let me tell you. But we have a killer team here, so we're very spoiled with all the people we have behind the scenes, for sure. So let's go back in history a little bit with you. When did you start playing drums?
Oh man, started playing drums when I was about 12 years old. I had no interest in it at all. I mean, I liked music. I was listening to Green Day, Blink-182, and was like, this is awesome. My older brother played guitar, so I thought that was really cool. And for whatever reason, I guess I just have an amazing mother. But for Christmas one year, I got like a pair of drumsticks, and I was like, oh, what's this about? And I like walk into the basement, and there's just a drum kit there. And I mean, as a 12-year-old kid, you're gonna be like, sweet, this is awesome. Like I'm sure a ton of 12-year-old kids have gotten drum sets, played them for a year, and then stop, you know? Yeah. And for whatever reason, I just kept playing. I think like I would invite my friends over and I would see them play, and then like I'd play something and they would always be like, hey, like that's kind of cool. And I think like just the very small like validation each step of the way just kept me like trying to take that next step. And so after about a year or so, started taking lessons and just kept playing ever since, man.
But it came to you pretty naturally, yeah?
I would say for the most part, what I noticed came really naturally to me was being able to hear a beat and then play it. So just listening by ear. So like I said, I was listening to the Green Day album, and within about a year playing or so, I could play along to the full album, and it was probably very sloppy and stuff, but I got the general gist of the beats. But yeah, that part felt pretty natural to me.
Cool. So when do you feel in your playing it really ramped up to where you wanted to do it for a living? You knew that you loved it that much.
Well, so thankfully, like I said, I had an older brother who played guitar and he sang, and he was about 19 at the time. I was about 13. He's like, hey, do you want to start a band together? And I'm like, absolutely. Like that's like a dream come true to play music with my older brother. So we started playing shows once I was like 13, 14 years old. Okay. And we kind of like as a local band started to like gain some traction, and I'm still super young. So as soon as I started playing in front of other people in a band setting, I just fell in love with it. I was like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. At a very young age, you know, as I got older, that started to feel a little less realistic. Like I said, like I got to a place where it was like, oh, I've tried to play in so many bands at this point, they all fell apart. All my friends went to college. I didn't go to college. Like, you know, where's this whole thing gonna go? But it was really once I started playing in front of other people that it just solidified the love of drumming for sure. Cool.
So now, moving forward in time and getting back to your YouTube channel and some of the lessons that you provide for people, some of the stuff is difficult, hard, technical, all of that kind of stuff. So you've obviously studied a lot.
Sure.
And played a lot. So what do you study nowadays? What keeps you inspired as far as learning?
I mean, just looking at some of the best drummer, you know, like Instagram is a beautiful, it's a dangerous thing and it's a beautiful thing in the sense of you can be wherever you're at and just see like your favorite drummer play something crazy. And I feel like, at least for me personally, I have two mental paths that I can take. I can take the mental path of, this is so inspiring, this makes me want to play my kit, practice, get better. I'm talking about people like Benny Greb, Mark Juliana, Chris Coleman, there's so many incredible drummers out there. Or there's the mental path of, this person is so good, I'll never get that good, I'm really discouraged, I'm comparing my drumming to their drumming, etc. So for me, what keeps me inspired is when I'm in that healthier mental state of just watching other drummers, seeing what can be created behind the kit is really inspiring. Anytime, like, if I just play behind the drums for an hour, I feel like I start to live in my own world of what's possible behind the kit. And then once I start watching other people, they totally blow that world like wide open. And I'm like, I would never ever think that you could do that. My brain wouldn't come up with that. So it's really just looking at the people in front of me and just having that constant source of inspiration, really.
Cool. And you're really busy these days, but do you have a teacher that you go to?
No.
Okay.
I wish. That would be awesome. I had a teacher growing up, but he ended up moving away. Okay. Now I'm thankful enough that I've been able to make some relationships with some other incredible drummers,
sure.
And keep a constant dialogue with them. So it's kind of more just like anytime I'm able to like chat with those friends, I'm walking away with something.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But you know, with all the lessons online, I'm still learning online too. You know, like I'm watching all the drum lessons on YouTube and stuff.
I do it all the time as well.
Yeah,
sure.
there's always good stuff there.
Yeah. So how many videos have you made on your channel? What's the number? Do you know?
I would say it's probably around 200-ish. I think my YouTube number might not say that specifically because I've probably deleted some in the past. Just like looking back, you're like, that's not good. Okay. But yeah, probably around 200. I think there is a certain period of time where I realized, hey, if I release one video every single week, that seems to YouTube seems to like that for whatever reason. It seems to recognize that like I'm taking this a little more seriously, whether it's YouTube or whether it's just people seeing me show up for them every single week.
Sure.
Is like a constant source of engagement. So for however many years, for the most part, I've just tried to release a video every single Tuesday.
Okay.
You know, sometimes I fall away from that, but like I said, you know, filming a video will take one day, editing it might take another 3 days, so it's hard to do any more than that for me personally.
Right.
But yeah.
Cool. All right, well now let's get to your band you're playing with, I Prevail.
Yeah.
Band's doing really well. You guys are killing it, and you've been with the band since 2017. Am I correct with that?
I believe so. Yeah, coming up on 3 years here.
And now I know you guys you're from not too far from here. We're in Fort Wayne, Indiana, if you don't know that, and you guys are from Michigan.
Yep.
So how did that come together?
So, yeah, at that point, I was probably doing my YouTube video for about 3 years, or my YouTube channel, sorry, for about 3 years. And at that time, I decided to kind of just try to go full-time drumming on a local scale. So Drum Beats Online was taking some of my time, and then when I wasn't doing that, I would be gigging locally, whether that's at churches, bars, venues with other bands, whatever that looks like. I was doing whatever I had the opportunity to do.
Sure.
Weirdly enough, at the church I was playing at, the sound guy, when I Prevail first started, I don't know how he got the gig, but when they first started, the sound guy at that church got that gig. And somewhere along the way, he must have really appreciated my drumming for whatever reason. But when they were looking for a new drummer, he suggested my name, even though at the time I had no experience playing like heavier rock music. It was like always just pop music or regular rock music, you know, nothing involving the double bass pedal, that's for sure. So yeah, I mean, whatever reason, they watched some of my videos, they took me under consideration, started talking with them a little bit more, and it eventually led to an audition. I had to teach myself how to play the double bass pedal in a pretty short amount of time.
That's cool.
But I did my best, and
you got the gig.
Yeah, I got the gig, man. It was bizarre. Like I did a audition, I think in January, and they're like, okay, well, cool. Starting in February, we're gonna be touring for a year straight. I'm like, okay, well, I've never toured before, so let's see what happens, you know?
And are you loving it?
Yeah, man, it's been awesome. It's, you know, it's a whirlwind.
Sure.
At this point, I'm a little more used to it, but at the time, it was going from, you know, 0 to, I mean, not 100, but somewhere there. But yeah, I mean, ever since it's been very busy of like, okay, when I'm on the road, I'm editing a bunch of videos. When I'm home, I'm filming a bunch of videos and just kind of like going back and forth between the two. But man, it's like I said, when I was 13, 14 years old, playing in front of other people is really what made me want to do that. So to see that dream realized in one sense is extremely fulfilling. I'm incredibly grateful for the opportunity. You know, if it never happened, I would still just be plugging away at Drum Beats Online. I love it. I love making the videos. I love anything that can just keep me playing drums, you know? So it's been awesome.
That's great. So you've done a lot of gigs now and you're playing in front of thousands of people. I saw some of your gigs have been really huge with the band. So what have you learned about yourself and not only your playing, but you're just who you are as a person, going from gig to gig, doing this night after night, traveling a lot? What have you learned about yourself?
So yeah, I feel like I've learned a lot about myself and a lot about my drumming. Myself, I've learned that I am an incredibly regimented person. I need routine in my life, and that's tricky when you're in a new city every single day. And but even within that, there are your certain time slots of sound checks at this time, meet and greets at this time, you play at this time, right? So it's like, okay, cool, we're starting to build a routine there. But for me, I started to realize that to feel really comfortable on the road, I need to like wake up at the same time every day. I wake up at like 7:30 every day.
Wow. That's not very rock and roll.
No, that's another thing I've learned. I'm not a rock and roller. I'm just a nerd who likes playing drums, I guess.
Nothing wrong
But
with that.
no,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, I like to wake up. I like to either edit my videos, return emails, whatever, for the first few hours that we're still driving on the bus, exercise, eat lunch, back to work, meet and greet, play a show, eat a whole ton of food, and then go right to bed at like 10:30. And that for me, it just makes my time on the road a little bit easier. And then as a drummer, I've learned that I play with a lot of tension on stage. That's something that I've really been trying to work on lately, is that even though I feel really comfortable playing live, the difference in how I'm holding my sticks is drastically different than how I'm holding my sticks when I'm at my studio. It's like after a few songs, I'm realizing like, oh, I gotta like shake my hands out. I gotta like, and even though mentally like I might feel good, I think it's just my body's like with the adrenaline, it's just the natural response. So in terms of kind of going back a little bit, and what I'm working on right now is trying to keep my good technique, like at the studio. I'm trying to apply that live.
Sure.
So yeah, those are a couple things I've been learning about myself.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about the gear you play.
Yep.
You're a Meinl endorser and Meinl cymbal player. I've been playing those cymbals for a long time myself. They're fantastic cymbals,
Yes.
especially for rock music.
Totally.
So what's your normal setup? You have various cymbals here, but this isn't what you normally play
Not live.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
what do you use on stage?
On stage, I'm normally playing 15-inch pure alloy hi-hats.
Okay.
They're very, very crisp, very defined. So anytime I'm doing like a closed hi-hat, something you can just hear every single note. And then they don't sound too, like I feel like you get that a lot from like thicker cymbals, but then you open them up and it just like overtakes everything. I don't get that with those, so I really dig those. I use a 19-inch medium thin Byzance crash for my left-hand crash here. It's beautiful, it's got enough meat on it for me. I used to play an 18, it was just a little too high pitch for me, but I love that cymbal.
Do you feel you need bigger cymbals with this band?
I've just always enjoyed bigger cymbals in general. I just like them. I feel like you just have more options with them, I guess. I always just like a bigger, meatier sound, even at home, because this setup is pretty similar to what it is at home. I mean, I'm not going like 24-inch cymbals or anything like that, but yeah. And then for my ride, I'm generally using a 21-inch Byzance polyphonic ride. Okay. Very, very crashable. It's basically a third crash. I'm not like riding on top of it very much, but it does have a really nice bell, which I appreciate it, and it's just got like kind of some low overtones. It's not like super abrasive. And then a 20-inch Byzance traditional medium crash. Okay. I've been playing that forever. And then generally a 20-inch China. Byzance China as well. I started off using a 16, and over the years it graduated to a 20. Really nice and meaty. And then for a stack cymbal, I actually use, so this is the fat stack right here.
Right.
On the bottom of it is an extra dry China, 16-inch with the holes in it. So I use that cymbal, and then I actually take this, which is the Byzance crash, and I flip that upside down. It gets really attacky, but also like really trashy. So that's my whole cymbal setup on the road.
And always like a 4-piece kit?
Yeah.
You ever get bigger than that?
No.
Yeah.
Like not that I'm opposed. Well, I am opposed to it on the road for sure. Okay. I love just having the ride cymbal. Ride cymbal right here where that second tom would be. Okay. At home, sometimes I experiment, but I mean,
this is your most comfortable way.
Basically, since I've been 13 years old, I've just been playing a 4-piece. If I ever decide to, sign with a company or whatever, get a new drum kit, I would probably get 4 toms just to have them, to experiment with them. But I would take it on the road and just play too. It's
Okay.
just easier for me.
That's cool.
Yeah, yeah.
And you're using Vic Firth 55A Extremes, correct?
Yes. Yep. It's like the perfect. I've always liked a 16.5 length. Just the extra length just makes me not have to like lean forward to get the cymbals, and just the weight. I don't know. It just feels perfect for me. I used to just be Extreme 5A, and I just felt like sticks were gonna fly out my hands. You know, I just needed a little bit more girth to it. So I've been playing these for, I don't know, a year, 2 years. I love them.
Cool.
Love them.
All right. Gabe, thanks so much for coming to Sweetwater again. Appreciate you
Absolutely.
being here. Best of luck with your gig tonight and the rest of the tour. How long are you guys going to be on the road for?
We've been on the road for about a month, and we've got 10 days left. So it's like 6 weeks-ish total.
Cool. Well, best of luck with the rest of the shows.
Thank
Have
you.
a great show tonight. And Gabe's going to do a little bit of playing for us. Maybe
Heck yeah.
maybe show us a little something here.
All
so
right.
Thanks again, man. Appreciate it. Have
Absolutely.
a great gig tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching, everybody.